Hello and welcome to Palace Intrigue. I am your host, Mark Francis. The New York Times got our attention with the headline, "A possible sex offender doesn't look good on a commemorative tea towel." Tanya Gold, in a guest opinion piece, writes, as he sits in front of the TV, he's apparently fond of TV, jobless and divorced, and with a collection of carefully arranged cuddly bears. I wonder if Andrew should watch The Crown. Specifically, the scene in the first season where Queen Mary tells her granddaughter Elizabeth II what to do when her private and public selves conflict. "The crown must win," says the old queen to the young, "must always win." Or, as pertinently, he could turn over and watch The Godfather, in which Michael Corleone, Prince Charles, tells his brother, Sonny, Andrew, "It's not personal, Sonny, it's strictly business." He could also watch The Godfather Part 2, in which Michael, Charles, tells Fredo, Andrew again, "You're still my brother." We know what happens next. The members of the royal family call themselves the Firm. It is a joke masking a truth. The crown is a business. That is why the Queen's second son has been exiled without trial or conviction for the business. They may have a mid-20th century bourgeois glamour, hats, flowers, doilies, but that is icing sugar, mere mirroring of the most devoted fans. Their business is power, and they have soaring archives and long memories. Initially, Andrew made the family look ridiculous. He gave a puzzled broadcast interview in 2019 saying he could not have met Miss Joffrey because he was in a pizza restaurant in Woking, a small town near Windsor, that day. "Going to Pizza Express in Woking is an unusual thing for me to do," he said, "and I remember it weirdly, distinctly." He said he could not have danced with Miss Joffrey sweatily at a nightclub, as she claims, because I had suffered an overdose of adrenaline in the Falklands War when I was shot at. At this, his voice deepened, and he preened at his new seriousness, and it was almost impossible for me not to sweat. He is not the first fool to be born in a palace, but this time the fool was on television. The Duke's former maid, Charlotte Briggs, claims Prince Andrew laughed when Briggs was bitten by one of Andrew's dogs some 20-plus years ago. Miss Briggs, 22 at the time, said of the attack, "My leg was bleeding and my tights ripped. He wasn't bothered. Even when I was limping and my leg was purple, he never apologized. It's those little things that tell a lot about people and their character." Briggs did not have much nice to say about Andrew as she spoke to the Sun, telling the story of one time as she ran up and down the stairs to close the curtains in his office, which were feet away from him. Andrew yelled at her, "Can't you ever do anything right?" Briggs added, "The man fought for his country in the Falklands, but couldn't stand up to close his own curtains." Palace Intrigue will be right back. If nobody is excited about Harry and Meghan coming home, maybe it is best if they don't. Former BBC royal correspondent Jenny Bond told OK Magazine, "If Harry is not going to be allowed to have security over here, unless he's staying in a royal residence, then perhaps Andrew's security should be looked at too. There has to be some kind of equity between the two of them, but Harry needs to look at himself. He's chosen this way of life. He wants to be regarded as a royal citizen, and he can't pick and choose like this. I think the Queen will be holding her hands up in despair with her children and some of her grandchildren. Everybody feels for the Queen now with the Andrew debacle, but I think there has to be some equity between Harry and Andrew now. There was the argument, and it probably wasn't correct, but if Harry had been stripped of his titles, then Andrew should have been some time ago." Meanwhile, Ingrid Seward, editor-in-chief of Majesty magazine, told The Sun, "I think if Harry and Meghan choose not to come home, then everyone will breathe a sigh of relief. It is Thanksgiving for Prince Philip, and we don't want it turning into the Harry and Meghan show." Does Kate Middleton resemble a puppy? Kate seems to think so. Kate took a picture with a therapy puppy as she and William visited Clitheroe Community Hospital in Lancashire. The puppy's colouring matched that of her outfit. As she snuggled with Alfie, a 10-week-old cockapoo, Kate laughed, "He's so sweet, you match my coat." Kate said, "Our dog is going to be very upset. She's going to be like, 'Where have you been?'" On a more serious note, William and Kate then travelled to Burnley to meet Pastor Mick Fleming, a former violent gangster. They had asked to visit the church on the street he runs after watching a BBC television report last month about its work with the town's most vulnerable people. During the visit, William comforted Deacon Glover, 11, whose mother Grace Taylor died last year, aged 28, after drug and mental health problems. William said, "I know how you feel," he told the boy, putting a hand on his shoulder and recalling the death of his own mother, Princess Diana. "It gets easier." And there you have it. Please follow us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your favorite shows. I'm Mark Francis. My thanks to John McDermott. This is Palace Intrigue. Good times.